Do you feel like your legs don't have the strength they used to? Does every step come with a twinge of pain in your knees or hips? Do you wake up in the morning with a stiffness that makes you feel much older than you really are? Imagine for a moment being able to walk more freely, getting up from a chair without that monumental effort and feeling a renewed vitality in your muscles. Now, what if I told you that the cause of that weakness and pain could be hidden in something you consider incredibly healthy? It might, in fact, be in your fruit bowl. It seems crazy, right? Our whole lives we've been told, eat more fruit. It's the fountain of eternal youth. And while that's partially true, there's a deeper, more nuanced truth that most experts don't tell you. There is a select group of commonly recommended fruits that could be silently sabotaging your efforts to stay strong and agile. These fruits, due to their unique composition, may be fueling an invisible fire within your body: chronic inflammation, the true architect of joint pain, and the main thief of your muscle strength. In the next few minutes, we're going to unravel this mystery, based on food science and the insights of innovative doctors like Dr. William Lee will reveal the 7 fruits that, when consumed the wrong way, could be holding back your potential. This isn't about eliminating fruit from your life, but about arming yourself with the knowledge to make smart choices that will transform your well-being. But before we dive into this revealing list, if you find value in this type of information that seeks to empower you and improve your quality of life, I invite you to leave a like on this video. And if you're not yet part of our community, subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our future tips designed to help you live a fuller, stronger, and pain-free life. Your support allows us to continue creating content like this. To understand why certain fruits can be problematic, we first need to understand the 2 main villains of this story: inflammation and blood sugar imbalance. Think of it this way. Acute inflammation is like a team of firefighters arriving to put out a fire. If you cut your finger, the area becomes red and swollen because your body is sending repair cells. That's good and necessary. However, chronic inflammation is as if those firefighters never leave. They leave the hoses on, flooding everything, causing collateral damage and preventing true healing from occurring. This constant, low-grade state of alert is what wears down your joints. The cartilage, that protective cushion in your knees, hips, and spine, is slowly eroded by inflammatory enzymes. It's like a constant drip on a rock. Over time, it wears it away. The second villain, uncontrolled blood sugar, is the perfect accomplice to inflammation. When you eat foods that quickly turn into sugar in your bloodstream, your pancreas releases a hormone called insulin to transport that sugar into your cells to be used for energy. But when this process happens too abruptly and frequently, like a roller coaster of ups and downs, 2 terrible things happen. First, your body becomes resistant to insulin, meaning it needs to release more and more to do the same job. High levels of insulin are a potent trigger for inflammation throughout the body. Second, the excess sugar that can't be used by the cells is converted into harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs are like little vandals that stick to the proteins in your body, including the collagen in your cartilage and muscles, making them stiff, brittle, and dysfunctional. This process not only accelerates the aging of your joints, but also hinders muscle repair and growth, contributing directly to sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss. So, the secret isn't just to avoid sugar from sweets and sodas, but also to understand how certain fruits, due to their high fructose content and glycemic impact, can contribute to this vicious cycle of high blood sugar and inflammation, robbing you of the strength in your legs and the comfort in your joints. Now that we have this foundation, let's explore which fruits we should reconsider. Number 7. Grapes, especially in juice. Grapes are often seen as a symbol of opulence and health, packed with antioxidants like resveratrol. And it's true, in their whole form and in moderation, they can offer benefits. However, they slide to number 7 on our list for a very specific reason. their extremely high sugar concentration, and the way we consume them. 1 cup of grapes contains about 23 grams of sugar. Although it's natural sugar, its impact on blood glucose is not trivial, especially for a body that might already be struggling with insulin resistance. The real problem, however, arises when we turn grapes into juice. By juicing the fruit, we remove all the fiber. Fiber is the body's natural handbrake against sugar spikes. It slows down the digestion and absorption of glucose. Without that fiber, drinking a glass of grape juice is almost like drinking sugar water. The sugar floods your bloodstream, causing a massive insulin response and directly fueling the inflammatory cycle we mentioned earlier. Imagine that torrent of sugar reaching your already sensitive joints. It's like pouring gasoline on a smoldering fire. Furthermore, the number of grapes needed to make a single glass of juice is enormous. You would never eat 30 or 40 grapes in one sitting, but you easily drink them in juice form, consuming an amount of sugar your body isn't designed to handle. As a smarter alternative, consider berries. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries are spectacular. They have a much lower glycemic index and are loaded with compounds called anthocyanins, which are pigments that give them their red, blue, and purple colors. These anthocyanins are incredibly potent anti-inflammatories. Studies have shown they can reduce inflammation markers like C-reactive protein, CRP, and help alleviate arthritis symptoms. Instead of a glass of grape juice, try a small bowl of mixed berries. You'll get sweetness, a massive dose of pain-fighting phytonutrients, and the fiber needed to keep your sugar levels stable. Number 6. Mango. The mango, known as the king of fruits, is delicious, exotic, and full of vitamins A and C. We all love its tropical sweetness, but that very sweetness is its Achilles heel, especially for joint and muscle health. A single medium-sized mango can contain a staggering 45 grams of sugar. That's more sugar than a can of cola, and a large part of that sugar is fructose. Fructose is metabolized differently from other sugars. While glucose can be used by almost every cell in the body, fructose is processed almost exclusively in the liver. When the liver is overwhelmed by a large amount of fructose, like that found in a large mango, it converts the excess into fat. This can contribute to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition that is itself a driver of systemic inflammation. An inflamed liver releases pro-inflammatory cytokines into the blood, which then travel throughout the body and can aggravate pain in places like the knees and hands. Therefore, although mango provides you with vitamins, the toll its high fructose content can take on your liver and your overall inflammatory system may outweigh the benefits, especially if you already have sugar sensitivity or joint pain. A fantastic alternative to mango is the avocado. Yes, an avocado is a fruit, and it's a superstar for the health of older adults. Instead of sugar, it's packed with healthy monounsaturated fats, the same type of fat. These fats are known for their potent anti-inflammatory effects. Additionally, avocados contain a compound called avocatin B, which studies suggest can combat inflammation. They are also an excellent source of potassium, a crucial mineral for muscle function and fluid balance, and fiber, which helps control blood sugar. Swapping a mango-based dessert for half an avocado with a pinch of salt and lemon will not only drastically reduce your sugar intake but will also provide you with fats that actively lubricate and soothe your joints. Number 5. Pineapple. Pineapple is famous for containing bromelain, an enzyme that, ironically, is promoted as an anti-inflammatory. And it's true, bromelain, especially when taken as a concentrated supplement on an empty stomach, can help reduce swelling changes when we eat the whole, ripe fruit. Pineapple is another tropical sugar bomb. A cup of pineapple chunks contains about 16 grams of sugar, and, like mango, its sweetness comes from a mix of sucrose, glucose, and fructose. The problem with pineapple is the balance. The amount of bromelain you get from eating a normal portion of pineapple is relatively small, while the sugar load is significant. For someone already suffering from inflammatory joint pain, the blood glucose spike caused by pineapple can easily nullify the modest anti-inflammatory benefits of the bromelain it contains. It's like trying to put out a fire with a water pistol while someone else is throwing a bucket of gasoline on it. The net effect can be more inflammation, not less. Furthermore, the acidity of pineapple can be irritating for some people, especially those with sensitive stomachs, and an irritated digestive system can contribute to overall body inflammation through the gut-joint axis. Instead of pineapple, why not try papaya? Papaya contains a different enzyme called papain, which also aids digestion and has anti-inflammatory properties. However, papaya, especially when not overly ripe, has a lower glycemic index fantastic nutrient profile, including high doses of vitamin C and beta-carotene, both antioxidants that protect your cells from damage. The key with papaya is to choose it at the right stage of ripeness to get the benefits without a sugar overload. It's a gentler tropical fruit for your system, supporting digestion and fighting inflammation without causing a blood sugar roller coaster. Number 4. Very ripe bananas. Bananas are a staple food worldwide, praised for their convenience and high potassium content, which is vital for nerve and muscle function. Who hasn't heard that eating a banana is good for preventing cramps? And this is true. However, there is a crucial difference between a slightly green banana and one that is completely yellow with brown spots. As a banana ripens, its resistant starches are converted into simple sugars. A green or pale yellow banana has a lower glycemic index and acts more like a slow-release carbohydrate source. But a ripe, spotted banana is a completely different story. Its glycemic index soars, and it becomes a source of fast-acting sugar. For an older adult whose insulin sensitivity may already be compromised, eating a very ripe banana can cause a blood sugar spike almost as fast as eating candy. This spike in glucose and insulin, as we've already established, is a catalyst for systemic inflammation. So, while you're getting potassium, you're also fueling the inflammation that causes pain in your knees and weakens your muscles. It's a trade-off that, in the long run, is not worth it. A superior alternative is simple. Choose bananas that are still a little green at the ends. This way, you get the potassium and the prebiotics from the resistant starches, which feed your good gut bacteria, but with a much smaller impact on your sugar level. An even better option is cherries, especially tart cherries. Cherries are one of the most studied anti-inflammatory fruits. They are packed with the same anthocyanins found in berries and have been shown in multiple clinical studies to reduce pain and stiffness in people with osteoarthritis and gout. They can also aid in muscle recovery after exercise. A handful of fresh cherries or even a little unsweetened tart cherry juice can be a powerful weapon in your arsenal against joint pain, providing direct anti-inflammatory benefits without the sugar drawback of a ripe banana. Number 3. Dried fruits. Dried fruits, such as raisins, dates, dried figs, and dried apricots, are often marketed as a healthy and convenient snack. They are easy to carry, last a long time, and seem like a smart way to eat fruit. However, this is one of the biggest deceptions in the world of nutrition. The dehydration process removes all the water content from the fruit. The result? All the sugars and calories are concentrated into a much smaller, denser package. Eating a handful of raisins is not like eating a handful of grapes. A small box of raisins can easily contain 25 to 30 grams of sugar. It's incredibly easy to overconsume these fruits because they don't fill you up in the same way that fresh fruit with its high water and fiber content does. They are, in essence, nature's candy. This concentrated sugar hits your system all at once, causing a massive insulin response and creating a highly pro-inflammatory environment. Dates, although rich in minerals, are particularly high in sugar. Eating just 2 or 3 medjool dates can provide more than 30 grams of sugar. For someone trying to manage joint pain and maintain muscle strength, Regularly consuming dried fruits is like stepping on the inflammation accelerator. The alternative is obvious but crucial. Always opt for whole, fresh fruit. Instead of a handful of raisins, eat a small bunch of fresh grapes. Instead of dried apricots, enjoy 1 or 2 fresh apricots. The presence of water in fresh fruit not only hydrates you but also creates volume in your stomach, helping you feel full and satisfied with a much smaller amount of sugar. If you need a convenient on-the-go snack, consider a handful of walnuts or almonds. They provide healthy fats, protein, and fiber, and have a stabilizing effect on blood sugar, making them a much smarter choice for fighting inflammation and supporting muscle health. Number 2. Canned fruits in syrup. This may seem like the most obvious point, but its ubiquity in pantries makes it a danger that must be highlighted. Fruit cocktails, sliced peaches, or canned pears floating in a thick, sweet liquid are a disaster for metabolic and joint health. The syrup is nothing more than sugar water, often high-fructose corn syrup, one of the most inflammatory ingredients on the planet. When you eat these fruits, you are not only ingesting the natural sugar from the fruit itself, but you are also adding a massive dose of processed sugars. Furthermore, the high-heat canning process often destroys some of the most sensitive vitamins and phytonutrients, like vitamin C, further reducing any potential benefit the fruit might have had. You are getting a nutritionally inferior version of the fruit, bathed in a liquid that is designed to inflame your body. It's the worst of both worlds. There is no justification for choosing fruit in syrup if your goal is to reduce pain and increase strength. It's a direct path to more pain, more stiffness, and slower muscle recovery. The solution is simple and direct. If you need the convenience of canned or packaged fruit, always look for options that say, in its own juice or in water, and make sure they have no added sugars on the ingredients list. Even better, fruits are frozen at their peak ripeness, a process that preserves the vast majority of their nutrients, sometimes even better than fresh fruits that have spent weeks in transport and at the supermarket. A bag of frozen berries, frozen sliced peaches, or frozen cherries, with no added sugar, is an economical, convenient, and nutritionally superior option that allows you to enjoy your favorite fruits year-round without the inflammatory sugar bath. Number 1. Sweet melon and watermelon. We've reached number 1, and it may be the most surprising for many. Watermelon and other sweet melons like cantaloupe are the epitome of summer, refreshing, hydrating, and delicious. Watermelon, in particular, is over 90% water, which makes it seem like a harmless option. However, despite its high water content, the sugar they contain is absorbed by the body at an alarming rate. Watermelon has a very high glycemic index, GI, often rated between 72 and 80, which is comparable to that of table sugar. Although its glycemic load per serving can be moderate due to the water content, it's very easy to eat large amounts of watermelon on a hot day, leading to a significant overall glycemic impact. This rapid rise in blood sugar triggers the cascade of insulin and inflammation we have described in detail. Cantaloupe also has a relatively high arthritis and sarcopenia. These repeated sugar spikes are like small, constant assaults on their body's repair systems. They prevent the body from entering an anti-inflammatory state, which is essential for healing joints and building muscle. Although watermelon contains lycopene and cantaloupe is rich in beta-carotene, the negative impact of their rapid sugar absorption can, for many sensitive people, outweigh these benefits. A much safer and more beneficial alternative in the fruit family are apples and pears, but with their skin on. The key here is the skin. The skin of these fruits is loaded with soluble fiber, especially pectin, which dramatically slows the absorption of sugar and feeds the good bacteria in your gut. Furthermore, apple skin contains a compound called quercetin, a flavonoid with potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Studies have suggested that quercetin can help stabilize the cells that release histamine, thereby reducing inflammatory responses. By choosing a crisp apple or a juicy pear with the skin, you get a satisfying sweetness, a slow and steady release of energy, and a dose of compounds that actively fight inflammation, making them a far superior choice to high glycemic melons. Taking control of your joint health and muscle strength isn't about declaring war on all fruits. It's about being an informed and strategic consumer. It's about understanding that in nutrition, context is everything. A fruit that may be perfectly healthy for a young athlete may not be the best choice for an older adult struggling with chronic inflammation. By making smart swaps, like trading grape juice for a handful of blueberries, mango for avocado, and watermelon for an apple with its skin, you are not only eliminating the potential triggers of your pain, but you are actively replacing them with foods that are medicinal. Foods that calm the fire of inflammation, stabilize your energy, and provide your muscles and joints with the building blocks they need to repair and strengthen themselves. This knowledge gives you power. It allows you to walk through the supermarket with confidence, knowing that every choice you make brings you one step closer to a life with more movement, less pain, and a vitality you may have thought you had lost. The strength of your legs and the comfort of your joints are, to a large extent, on your plate.